remember watching this video. I used to watch creepypasta comic dubs. That was my shit. That was my shit. I loved watching comic dubs when I was a kid.
Come across. It is free, it is online, and it allows kids to... We have to warn you, these images are pretty disturbing.
Follow the guide arrows on the screen to solve.
Oh, this game. Cooking Mama.
This is not for kids.
But
This
PETA.
is adult entertainment.
Nowhere we're putting Legend of Zelda.
Video games first started as a niche hobby, uncommon to the general public. Now there are more than 3 billion gamers in the world.
3
almost
billion?
half of the human population. You probably grew up playing video games at an early age, but playing games isn't always a positive experience. Sometimes they can give you nightmares, or in some situations leave you.
Oh my god,
Today
his
we'll be
video.
looking at kids games that are too disturbing for
Too
kids. And as we go
disturbing
deeper, we'll
for
uncover
kids.
just how dark video games
Ooh.
can really get. As always, I hope you guys
I love
have
comic
an
dubs. There's
absolutely
Undertale. Oh my god, I
marvelous
love the Undertale Christmas comic. Oh my god, that's
Panda is
ball
one of the
knowledge.
cutest animals in the world, which also happens to be the mascot of a YouTube channel.
That's ball.
Baby Bus. In their description, Baby Bus provides intelligent early childhood educational content for kids up to 6. But what's interesting about Baby Bus is how big it really is. On YouTube, Baby Bus has over 130 million.
Maybe I should become a kids content creator and just make like brain rot fucking videos. And maybe I would have 1 million subs.
Subscribers across
Melon.
multiple channels. Outside of YouTube, Baby Bus also makes a lot of mobile games targeting children, one of them being Baby Panda Dental Care. Released on April 27, 2020 on the Google
Okay, by doing that, bro, fire. I mean, as long as you avoid the kids, then sure. What's up, Casey? How's it going? Make that bank. Dude, I'd be a millionaire. Holy
Panda
shit.
Dental Care has over 10 million downloads.
Man,
the game is
fuck
rated
the
for
ad-
a 3-year-old audience and allows players to step
I'll
into
be
the role
millionaire.
of the host. All patients in the game are cute animals who
We're
look for you to fix their
Cocomelon.
teeth. The game is really innocent. But Baby
Oh my god. You already are brain rot, so just change to kid friendly. And that's what you need to
Panda
do.
Dental Care wasn't always like this. In
Fuck that.
2017, Chick World, another kids
If I don't swear after every word, it's not me. I got taken over.
mobile game developer released.
I'm
their
AI.
own version of
I
Baby
would be
Panda
AI
Dental Care. It had
generated
the same
if I
name
didn't
as
swear
Baby
after every
Bus's game
sentence.
and similar gameplay, but it looks like this. This version of the game has highly unsettling visuals. There's only one patient, a panda with its dirty yet detailed.
As a wise man once said, to speak without swearing, is to eat food without seasoning.
Teeth. The end result is an uncanny valley-like experience. The uncanny valley.
My
is used
goat
to
said
describe
that.
an
My goat said
uncomfortable
that.
feeling that we get when something feels human, but it isn't. The panda you meet in the game doesn't look anything like a real panda. It has a mouth that looks human, and its eyes are wide open. Throughout the operation, the panda stares at you without blinking. It already feels creepy enough for adults, so for kids, it would be even worse. In 2019, Chick World's Baby Panda Dental Care was removed from the Play Store, but by then, it already had over 10,000
What is this? Kid games too disturbing for kids.
installs. The mobile game may be gone, but the browser version can still be played today.
That is so
rebranded as
scary.
Cute Panda
I'm so
Dental
disturbed.
These next games, inspired by Disney, are surprisingly not appropriate for a younger Disney-loving audience. The dark influence of Frozen.
Frozen.
Making content for kids comes with a lot of restrictions, but do it properly and you'll hit the lottery. Look no further than Disney. Both Frozen 1 and 2 ranked in the top 5
Bro,
highest
holy
grossing animated
editing.
films of all time. From the songs to the merchandise, Frozen is a franchise that shaped the childhood of millions across the world. So many brands took advantage of this and created hundreds of thousands of Frozen merch. The catch, most of them are fake, but these unlicensed goods aren't just physical, they're digital too. Fake Frozen games are everywhere. This is just one
We do
example.
not see this
Snow
out-
Queen flying knife.
I'm
The
not so
goal
many
of this game is to
Frozen
toss
browser
knives at targets that appear on a rotating wooden
Oh,
circle.
shit.
But the circle also has Hans, the villain from the first Frozen movie.
Just
strapped
toss it at
onto
him.
it. Hitting Hans results in, well, let's just say, really graphic imagery and screaming. But that's not even scratching the surface of how weird these fake Frozen games can get.
The way
A lot
I
of
did
these
for the
games
head.
put players in the role of a surgeon, operating on Frozen characters in a gruesome fashion. Elsa Cesarean Birth is a game where you have to help Elsa.
Are these just
birth
all
by
Wyatt
cutting
games?
To deliver the baby. On top of the gore, what
Why
makes
is
this game even
Elsa
more
giving
disturbing for
birth?
kids is that it's possible to lose the game, suggesting that if you fail, it's possible that the baby or Elsa herself didn't make it. Other
That's a little fucked.
games that deal with the health of Frozen characters include Baby Elsa spinal surgery, Frozen Anna brain surgery, and Olaf
that was a
Nightmare.
little
A lot of
fucked.
kids love the Frozen characters, so showing them with serious injuries can leave them pretty uncomfortable. But some of these fake Frozen games are much worse, but we can't talk about those ones or YouTube would be furious.
Oh.
Frozen isn't the only franchise with tons of problematic kids content online, but it is the biggest. On YouTube, there was the
Elsa Gate.
incident. Hundreds of thousands of YouTube kids videos were discovered as being very inappropriate for kids. But unlike Elsa,
Yeah, that
it
shit
doesn't
was
seem like
weird.
these fake
That was
Frozen games
weird.
will
That
be
shit was
banned
weird.
soon. Yet in the world of disturbing kids games, it's not always gore that makes it problematic. Sometimes just the style of the game itself is enough to give kids nightmares. The truth behind Majora's Mask.
This game was fucking sick though. That Majora's Mask
For kids
was
growing
so
up in the early
fire.
90s, the console war they'll remember was fought by Sega and Nintendo. But by the end of it, Nintendo won. What made Nintendo different from competitors was its family-friendly image. Nintendo's marketing strategy is the reason why they have huge gaming franchises like The Legend of Zelda. Their popularity is largely thanks to how Nintendo
Majora's
catered their
Mask
games
was
to a younger
so
audience.
good,
But even
chat.
then, there are some games from Nintendo that players find dark. In the Legend of Zelda series, one of the old classics that still gets discussed to this day is Majora's Mask.
The
Considered by
GOAT!
many to be the creepiest
Nintendo, remake this game and my life is yours.
Zelda game, Majora's Mask haunted the dreams of a lot of its players. But why? To understand why Majora's Mask was so chilling, you have to understand what it was like when the game first came out. The previous entry in the franchise, Ocarina of Time, brought the series into 3D for the first time and became one of the greatest video games of the decade.
It has some of the most iconic music in all of gaming, and at the time, it flawlessly captured the grandiose feeling of adventure. Ocarina of Time influenced the path of the entire medium of video games.
To follow up on this historic achievement, Eiji Aonuma, the lead designer of
Made
the
the
Zelda games,
GOAT
was given
the
an
best
impossible
Legend of
task.
Zelda
He had
game.
to develop the sequel
The
to
best
Ocarina
one.
of Time
This-
within
it's-
a year. The
it's
stress
the
of
best.
this deadline gave him nightmares. According to an interview, it was these nightmares that inspired the dark elements of Majora's Mask. And on April 27, 2000, the game was finally released for the Nintendo 64. So from Link being a triumphant hero in Ocarina of Time, how does Majora's Mask kick things off? With Link getting robbed and being transformed into a plant-like creature.
Yeah.
The game has a pretty grim tone, and to make matters worse, there is
The time mechanic in this game was so confusing.
a time limit that plays an important role in the game.
It deals with some pretty dark stuff, especially at its time of release and for a Zelda game. I mean, you have 3 days to save Termina, or everyone gets crushed by a moon that's inching ever closer by the second.
For a lot of kids who didn't know what they were doing, they were greeted by this bad ending of the moon destroying everything. The moon itself is the stuff of a nightmare.
The moon is pretty scary. If I woke up, looked outside, and saw the fucking moon look like that, just know that I'm already gone from the planet, bro. I fucking flew out.
Evil
I could fly if you guys didn't know that, chat.
face always looking down at the player. The game's depressing atmosphere is thanks to the fact that its world is ending in 3 days. Some characters in Majora's Mask either live in denial or in complete hopelessness. For example, the swordsman at the school says he's not scared.
You guys didn't get that patch update? I got some new patch notes and an update where they taught me how to fly.
Of the falling moon and thinks he can cut it into pieces. But in
Flying's
the final 6
enabled.
hours before the moon falls, if you go to the school, the swordsman barricades himself in a hidden room curled up crying, terrified of what's to come. If you beat the game by saving
Might have
the world,
skipped it.
no matter what you do, there is no happy ending. In the end credits, most of the residents of Termina are celebrating.
That's why you gotta be reading the patch notes, bruh.
Except the Deku Butler, one of the characters you meet in the game. The game's good ending always shows him mourning the loss of his son. It's grim moments like this throughout the game that fills the player with a sense of emptiness. In the end, Majora's Mask was a game born from the nightmares of its creator and brought to life. Fast forward 20 years later, and the game is still being analyzed by YouTubers to this day.
It's
Majora's
so
Mask also
good.
inspired Ben Drowned, one of the most popular internet horror stories from the
That Ben Drowned, oh my gosh. The
2000s.
classic, the
Surprisingly, Majora's Mask
classic.
isn't the only Nintendo game inspired by its creators' experiences. The game in our next chapter turns its creators' childhood memories into pure nightmares. The game based on a scarred childhood. while Majora's
What?
Mask explores a darker, more mystical world. Let's shift gears to something more grounded in reality. This
What the fuck
video's
is this?
sponsor, War Thunder.
What?
War Thunder is a vehicle combat MMO game.
made me
with
watch an ad.
through in my link. New Year 2024. All players can until the end of.
He
the
made me watch an ad. Earthbound.
Released
Earthbound,
on June 5th,
really?
1995. Earthbound, a traditional Japanese role-playing game, was brought to the Super Nintendo. In Earthbound, you control 4 kids who go on an adventure to save the world. The game looks innocent enough with its colorful environments and quirky humor, but it also has dark moments. Underneath Earthbound's innocent appearance are creepy sequences scattered throughout the game. Early on in the game, you'll come across Happy Happy Village. This town is home to the Happy Happiest, a cult whose members look like certain cult members in real
This guy fucking loves. Oh.
life. Later on in the game, you arrive at a location called Moo. Here, one of your party members named Pooh have to undergo training by meditating. During the meditation, an ominous face will
Oh my
descend
gosh.
engulfing him.
Look
All
at
this
his
happens
bald ass
while a
head.
dark ambient track
Fuck
plays
ass
in the
head.
background. The face will then ask your permission to break Pooh's legs and remove his arms, among other disfiguring acts. Selecting no will cause the player to fail, and they'd have
Thank you for the drink water, Levy. I hope your trucking is going well. You need your wig? I don't have a fucking wig, chat. Fuck you. Leave my luscious my luscious lock of hair alone.
keep the meditation from the beginning.
No, fuck you guys. Now you're gonna have to look at me like this.
Even though it's just text-based, it's pretty chilling, especially for a younger player. It's even more
Now
twisted.
you're gonna have to see me like
Remember,
this.
Pooh is slightly younger than
Something's missing, huh?
13.
Put it back.
The scene doesn't compare to the terror
Fuck
that is
no.
Gygus, the game's final boss. The fight against Gygus is unlike anything gaming has seen
Something's
before.
missing, huh?
It doesn't have hype music or a grand stage, just a nightmarish background with distorted sound effects. The fight is divided into 5 stages, each filling the player's soul with
It's
dread.
wrong.
What makes this fight so chilling is the image of Gygus itself, which is thought to be based on an unborn child inside the mother's womb.
That's
While the theory
fucked.
is later
I
proven
didn't
to
know
be
that could
false,
come
what a
off.
lot of Earthbound players didn't know is that the
I'm
game
so
is based
bald.
on a childhood experience that scarred its creator, Shigesato Itoi.
When he was a child,
Thank for the
Itoi
head pat.
went to a movie to catch a flick with some friends when unfortunately he walked into the wrong theater. He mistook this one love scene between 2 characters to be a romantic one, but in reality it was, well, something not so consensual and advertiser friendly, if you know what I mean.
This moment changed Itoi forever. Later on, as an adult, Itoi drew on the loss of his innocence as inspiration for making Earthbound. While the game is remembered today
wow.
as a cult classic, it didn't change the fact that it was a deeply disturbing game for kids. And for the developers in our next chapter, their goal isn't to express themselves artistically. Sometimes the goal is to spread propaganda even at the expense of kids. PETA's
I love propaganda.
disturbing propaganda.
My favorite
For the
thing.
ethical treatment of animals, or PETA, is an animal
Oh my god, fucking PETA, bro.
rights group with an interesting history.
Dude, did you guys see what PETA did on Twitter?
Online, you can find hate for the organization almost everywhere. PETA is known for its outlandish
PETA.
publicity stunt. You might not know this, but surprisingly, they've
Holy
also
shit,
made
what are
a
they doing,
few
bruh?
video games. A lot of these games are parodies of beloved Nintendo titles. They're free and can be played on PETA's website. But unlike
Uma
the
thing?
Nintendo
Yeah,
games
the
that they're
Uma
based
thing.
on,
PETA just doing anything,
versions
man.
aren't very kid-friendly. Pokemon Black and Blue is a good example of this. The game's cover art shows Pikachu and other Pokemon injured. The player versus player combat is similar to Nintendo Pokemon games, but very short, with only 4 fights in total. But after the first fight, Nurse Joy, the nurse in all the Pokemon games, will appear to give you a treasure chest. Choosing to accept the treasure chest will open a new tab that plays a video.
That's a pig, Luke. Alright, we're not playing that. That's... Oh. Okay, so nothing is worse than getting a shock video. Oh, essentially what you have is a shock video here, right?
Yeah.
And then decorating that in a children's video game.
Yeah.
And using that as
They
a
brought more awareness to horse treatment than they ever have.
to
Yeah.
show and shock people.
Pretty bad.
To try and push off your propaganda. That is up.
PETA repeats this formula in a lot of their parody games. In their second Pokemon parody game, Pokemon Red, White, and Blue, you fight against McDonald's
Ronald
characters.
McDonald.
After the first fight, you'll be asked if you want to open a treasure chest.
Can't they copyright them for that?
Takes you to an
McDonald's?
age-restricted video. Besides the video, the gameplay of both Pokemon games isn't too disturbing, but the same can't be said for PETA's Cooking Mama parody game. The original Cooking Mama game is a series of
Dude, this shit was everywhere during YouTube when it released. It was like everywhere. You couldn't escape skip it.
Preparing a turkey for Thanksgiving. The game shows a lot of blood and internal organs, and like the Pokemon parodies, it's also linked to an external video.
That's not how eggs
Mama's
work.
audience is obviously kids, and they very easily could stumble upon this game, and they could just as easily get to the point in this game and then get
PETA loves scarring people to turn them vegan,
scarred
bro.
by this video.
Both Cooking Mama's developer and Nintendo have responded to PETA's versions of their games and decided not to take any legal action against them. The twisted use of propaganda in these children's games disturbs.
If that Nintendo was the Nintendo now, that shit getting taken down immediately.
Some kids, but in our next game, even adults were terrified about it too. The scariest arcade game ever. Going to the arcade is usually a fun experience for the whole family. With all kinds of genres, there's always a game for everyone. Well, most of the time. Unlike our previous entries, which relied on gore or a creepy atmosphere, this arcade game has gained a legendary reputation for the pure, unfiltered terror it creates. Sinistar.
A game many of you might not have even heard of.
This is scary.
Yet it still managed to scare the life out of countless children and even adults back in the day.
Created by Williams Electronics in 1983.
1980. Oh wow, it's 1983. You know.
From a bird's eye view. It was revolutionary for being the first sit-down arcade game to have stereo sound. The immersive audio gave it the feeling of sitting inside a cockpit, and thanks to this new technology, at the time, arcade goers were blown away by the experience. At first, there's nothing scary about the game at all. You control your ship with a joystick, firing your laser at things while trying
I
not
need
to
pee
get
so
hit.
bad.
If you keep playing, you'll hear something.
Before I can see the monster, I can hear him in what must be the most frightening introduction of any character in gaming history.
I'm taking a piss. Man, fuck you guys. I need pee so bad. I need pee so bad. I need pee so bad.
The mere thought of this voice would give me a quiver in my liver, and I would not be able to sleep for days.
Beware, coward.
Is that scary?
Run, coward.
Is that scary?
That was the voice of the game's boss, Sinistar. All of Sinistar's lines were recorded by Chicago DJ John Dormus, except for one line. Sinistar's iconic scream was a lion's roar recorded from This was the roar that struck fears in the hearts of countless children back in the 80s. But it wasn't just the voice. Sinistar is one big monstrous face that relentlessly chases the player down. Your spaceship's attacks do not work on Sinistar, and the only way to beat it is to collect the crystals. These crystals turn into weapons called Cinnabombs, which is the boss's only weakness.
gosh.
The game never gave clear instructions on this mechanic, so for a lot of kids playing this back in the day, the sudden appearance of this unbeatable force of nature made their blood run cold. This was also before the internet was a thing, so most players never figured out how to beat Sinistar. Those who do defeat Sinistar will be shocked to learn that he keeps coming back. The game's difficulty and its terrifying reputation ended up costing the developer Williams Electronics. Sinistar did not become a commercial success when it first launched, but decades later, the arcade game now has a huge cult following as a collector's piece. Sinistar is a blast from the past for many adults today. The game's amazing use of sound set the trend for many horror games today.
I like this video more than his other ones right now. I feel like he's trying to upload too often and the quality's kind of like down, you know what I'm saying?
Form of inappropriate content. The game where you choose your own story. Episode is a free-to-play visual novel style game where
Did you guys get these ads back then too? This shit was so weird. These ads were so fucking weird.
Players can read interactive short stories. By choosing certain options, they can affect how the story plays out. But what separates Episode from a lot of other visual novel mobile games is its user-generated content, which is in-game content that its users create themselves. The top user-submitted stories even earn their creators money.
They get
With over
money?
12 million creators, a lot of them would do anything they can to get clicks. This leads
Shock
to a lot of
value.
questionable content on Episode.
If you go to the App Store, Episode is rated 12 plus, but some of the stories on the app are just not appropriate. I would be scared to read them as a 12-year-old if that was given to me. Some of them are things that you wouldn't want to see if you're 12 years old.
What is that blurred image? We cannot what?
The users who are coming up with the inappropriate content for the game. Episode itself has a reputation for its weird ads that are not suitable for younger audiences.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta stop these fucking weird ass ads for showing up on my shit, bro.
These ads
not up on my shit, but like up on a bunch of people's shit. The ads are so weird, man. Y'all see the fucking AFK Arena ads? Holy shit.
Advertises its games through other kids' mobile games. Because of this, a lot of kids were exposed to Episode's indecent ads even before getting to play a second of the game. This drew a very angry reaction from parents, since this is how some kids were introduced to the game. So how does Episode make money? Like a lot of other free-to-play games, Episode uses an energy system, which is the type of currency for the game. Players spend energy to read more content.
Like webtoons.
Once your energy runs out, you can either wait for more or buy energy through the app. But for Episode, their monetization gets a lot worse. Some dialogue options are locked behind a paywall. It doesn't matter how long you wait, the only way to explore these options is by paying with premium currency.
Damn.
Often, this content tends to be the more steamy option, if you know what I mean. So on top of being marketed towards kids, Episode tries to exploit their curiosity and make them hooked.
That's what Webtoon be doing to me, bro. I want to be watching the next chapter, and I'm just, it's like, bro, pay 4 coins, bro. I'm not paying 4 coins for your shit, bro.
On adult content they shouldn't even be consuming. From its ads to its stories, Episode has an entire
and it's like 7 new chapters that are coming out in 40 days.
Ecosystem designed to profit off
Sorry,
the
little
undiscovered
tangent.
desires of its young audience. But as if suggestive animated content isn't dark already, this next game takes it one step further. The game
I mean, like the webtoon artists gotta get paid, so you know what I mean, right? So like benefits them, pisses me off, but benefits them.
based on a disturbing folklore. Not all games are created for the sake of enjoyment. Take, for example, the game Cosmology of Kyoto, an educational PC game released in Japan back in 1993 and North America a year later. Even though it had glowing reviews, the game didn't do well commercially. Cosmology of Kyoto barely had any players, but there were still some kids who stumbled across the game only to get scarred from the experience. Over the years, Cosmology of Kyoto gained a cult following because of just how eerie it was. It's even Guillermo del Toro's favorite game, director of famous films like Hellboy. But just what is it that makes Cosmology of Kyoto so unsettling? To answer that, we have to travel back. Look at the
cover page.
To the
Damn.
Heian period in Japan at around the year 1000. This is when the game takes place, and right off the start, you can feel that something's off.
The illustrations are all gorgeous with a muted color palette and deep shadows, giving it a dark and creepy edge. The sky in the background and the empty, eerie streets really give this game a forlorn and foreboding feel.
Cosmology of Kyoto doesn't have a clear goal. You can go anywhere you want around the ancient capital of Kyoto, meeting various people and even demons. Depending on how you act in these scenes, your karma will change. It determines which Buddhist hell your character is sent to when you're defeated. This is what terrified kids who played the game back in the day. Most of these hell scenes show your character being tortured by monsters.
That's a bit much to show a kid, I guess.
Hell you end up in, the scenes can be stomach turning. Once you leave hell, your character will reincarnate into a different person.
I feel like kids don't really know what it's like they're looking at, but like we as adults are looking at it and we're like, that's fucking wild. But when a kid is looking at that, I feel like they're just seeing, oh, red ball going guy mouth. Oh.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of encounters in the game that can send your character to hell, but if that wasn't inappropriate enough, there's gameplay showing characters exposed. But even with its gruesome imagery, Cosmology of Kyoto can be educational. Every single person you meet in the game is based on real-life accounts or folklore, and you can read up on these details through the game's reference menu.
It's like having an encyclopedia of ancient Kyoto and Japanese history and folklore at your fingertips.
Violence and indecent content are captured through Cosmology of Kyoto's unique art style. Others like taking a more real-life approach to video games, making them feel uncanny. The uncanny valley of full-motion video games.
What?
1993 was the year that changed video games forever.
Full
Games were
motion.
starting to become more mainstream, and the public was getting worried.
Yeah!
Games like Mortal Kombat caused the US Senate to create the ESRB, which is in charge of age-rating games. But Mortal Kombat's violence wasn't the only thing the politicians debated about back then. Another title that was brought up in the congressional hearings was
I'm chewing on
The
shit.
second game is Night Trap, which is a game set in a sorority house. The object is to keep hooded men from the young woman.
What?
From a hook.
Night Trap is an
Who thought that was a good game
FMV
concept?
game, which is short for full motion video game. The game's graphics uses real life footage of actors, making it an interactive movie of sorts. Because of how realistic the game looked, a lot of people were concerned that the violence that happened on screen was too much for kids. But looking back, the only realistic thing about Night Trap was the fact that it used real people. The game's acting is poor and it was designed to be exaggerated. Most players didn't take it seriously.
Night Trap, the most infamous FMV game of all, which had terrible story, acting, sets, lighting, costumes, special
Everything.
effects,
Just
and
say
boring
everything.
gameplay.
But that didn't stop politicians from using Night Trap as fuel to criticize video games. The game was hardly the most problematic FMV title at the time. Instead, there was another FMV game that flew under the politicians' radar. The game was so dark, it got banned in multiple countries. That game is Phantasmagoria, released on
So it's just like movies then. They're just movies.
August 24th, 1995 for the PC. The game puts players in the shoes of a writer who has to survive inside a mysterious mansion. Unlike Night Trap, Phantasmagoria's acting was far more realistic. It's a horror game with multiple bad endings. Not only were there a lot of brutal scenes in the game, but there was even one that involved a non-consensual act. Even though the game is completely
What?
unsuitable for kids, that didn't stop many of them from playing it. The game's creator, Roberta Williams, felt that Phantasmagoria was unfairly targeted by
Roberta
the media.
Williams.
According to her, it's because at the time, many people thought of computer games as children's entertainment.
Man, I'm
the game
hungry.
ended up haunting the dreams of a lot of kids. Phantasmagoria
Man, I'm
was
hungry
so
as hell.
controversial that multiple organizations called for a boycott of the game. But even after all that, the game was a commercial success.
Of course, the controversy worked its magic, and the game went on to sell over 1 million copies.
Damn.
Controversy is something the games in our next chapter do very well. But unlike Phantasmagoria, these games weren't made to make money. They were made to offend as many people as possible, even the victims of real-life tragedies.
Whoa.
Newgrounds' darkest games.
Newgrounds was a fucking mess. If you went on Newgrounds, that shit was so crazy.
On December 31st,
Yeah, that was just low-key, there was just porn all over it too. There was just fucking everything.
2020, Adobe Flash Player, which was a program used for many online games, was officially
Rip Newgrounds, though.
discontinued. Unless your page had certain features, that meant you could
Really? Yeah, on Newgrounds, you could, there would be animated porn on that shit.
play Flash games.
Like, not like actual dick, like male, female fucking dick shit. Like real people, but like, you know.
But with the end of Flash came one game that
Never
took
heard of
the world
Newgrounds. Oh, you just made me feel old. You just made me feel
by
old,
storm.
bruh.
Friday Night Funkin'. In 2021, Friday Night Funkin' went viral as a rhythm game with an art style inspired by many Flash games that came before it.
It was everywhere. YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah, Newgrounds was very popular for this type of stuff.
Bootleg merch, Roblox.
You're like a year older.
At a time
You made me feel
when
old,
people
bruh.
were stuck in lockdown, Friday Night Funkin's early
But Newgrounds was a place where you see like very cool animations. It was mostly like an animation website where because I loved watching animations when I was younger. So I was perma on Newgrounds.
Reminded players of the good old days. It unleashed new life into Newgrounds, the biggest community of Flash animations and games. This helped the new generation of young gamers rediscover an old part of internet culture, including its darker sides. You see, one character in Friday Night Funkin' is Pico. What a lot of players don't realize is that Pico is originally from a different game called Pico's School. Developed by Tom Fulp, the founder of Newgrounds himself, Pico's School was released way back in 1990.
Chris, I didn't find it because I was in the animation meme community.
You play as Pico,
dude, it was so
a survivor
popular.
of a school tragedy. The goal of the game is to defeat the perpetrators behind the tragedy and save the school. It's also based on a real-life incident that happened that same year in 1999. But even then, Pico's School is only the tip of the iceberg compared to some of Newgrounds' darkest titles. There were several other Flash games on the site that were also inspired by real-life tragedy.
Dude, this shit was so cool. And Newgrounds was so cool, man. Newgrounds was so fire.
Games, the players had to commit,
but it was very edgy. I think Newgrounds was very edgy too, so.
Atrocities similar to what happened in real life. Worst of all, they even featured characters who shared the same identity as the victims in real life. When asked why these games were made, the creator who made both of them said, because it's funny.
Making so many angry has won me enough points for the rest of my life.
These games stirred up a storm of controversy that family members of the victims even responded.
It's absolutely disgusting that somebody thinks this is funny, and we're all suffering. All the families are suffering.
Because Newgrounds values the artistic freedom of its creators, a lot of these games can still be played on the site today. Whether or not you agree with it, Newgrounds can be seen.
Flash doesn't work though, right? Adobe doesn't work. I don't know how you play these games.
Preserving both the good and bad sides of the internet. And for a lot of kids in the early 2000s, it was their childhood, even if some ended up getting scarred from it. This was also the case for our next game, a real-life horror game.
Oh, horror game.
If the video game you're playing isn't just a game anymore, what if you yourself become a character in a video game?
Dude, I thought something was making that noise IRL. Whatever noise he just chose for that freaked the shit out of me.
In 2008, in the browser game Hotel 626. Back then, rumors spread online of a creepy browser game that you could only play between 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., forcing you to play it at night. Hence the name Hotel 626. If you head to hotel626.com, you'll be brought to a page where you have to type in your personal details. In order to play the game, you even had to turn on your webcam and microphone. Once you type everything in, the game starts. Hotel 626 was an FMV browser game, so the graphics used real-life footage. The game gives you a series of tasks.
Oh my god.
More extreme than the last.
Well, I think I've heard of this. I think I've heard of this.
You to use your microphone to sing a lullaby to a baby. If you fail, you'll get jump scared. But it's the fourth task that completely paralyzed players in fear.
What you see next is hanging Polaroids of faces from other players. At the start of the game, when you click agree to using your webcam, your picture is taken without your knowledge, and you are now on one of these Polaroids. You have to quickly look through rows of faces until you see yourself and click on it.
So after seeing your own photo taken without you even knowing, how could it possibly get worse? Unfortunately, the answer to that question comes when your phone in real life starts.
They call your phone!
And when you pick it up, this is what you'll hear. The game tells you the
That's cool though. That's cool. But that's a little weird.
Your real number. Following the instructions will lead you outside of the hotel and into a car. As you start up the engine, the game ends, right before one last jump scare. But even after the game ends, the horror doesn't, because some players reported getting a phone call days after playing the game. The voice in the call told them you never really left the hotel. There's no real escape from its horrors. Hotel 626 was a horror experience.
That's cool though. That is such an invasion of privacy.
Of your screen. Sadly, Hotel626.com was shut down in 2011. The game can no longer be
Damn, I was
played today.
6.
That's because this entire game was a marketing stunt from Doritos. The game was made by Doritos to promote their black pepper jack and smoking cheddar barbecue.
They made a whole ass horror game to promote fucking chips.
The URL hotel626.com was printed on the back of the packaging, which is how kids found out about the game. Doritos ended up making a sequel for Hotel 626 called Asylum 626, but it didn't have the same publicity as the first game. It shut down alongside Hotel 626 in 2011. This was for the best, since what these games did with your private information crossed the line. While Hotel 626 messes with the player in real life, the video game in the next chapter messes with the player's mind. The game is so twisted, it even made some kids physically sick. The dangers of dark Roblox games. If you're looking for horror games, Roblox isn't the site that comes to mind. The graphics can't compare to classic.
Now it is. Now it is.
Horror titles, so most games on Roblox aren't as immersive.
You go to Roblox to find good horror games.
After all, the majority of its user base is kids. The horror games that you can find on Roblox are a hit or miss, but there's one title that stood out from the rest. A game so terrifying, some players
Don't say
even
Mimic.
reported feeling sick.
Don't say
this
Mimic.
Game is called My Eyes Deceive.
Oh.
It plays a girl who's been living inside a basement her whole life, which already feels uncomfortable. The very first task the game gives you is to take your pill.
This is cool though.
The gameplay boils down to just interacting with objects. But at the end of each day in the game, before you sleep, you're tasked with talking to Papa, but he's never seen and rather hidden.
Wait, maybe we should play this on stream.
Near the hatch of the basement. We learn from Papa that the outside world is a dangerous place and the pills we take are for our own safety. But halfway through the game, Papa never shows up at the hatch. Eventually, you have to decide if you want to keep taking your pills.
If it's still up?
This is where things take a turn for the worse. You, the player, start to realize what's really unfolding when your character's asleep. The game suggests that the father was doing terrible acts.
Let's not play it. Never mind.
And for a lot of players who played the game to its end, they're left sick to their stomachs. My Eyes Deceive is a psychological horror game that's hard to play just because of how twisted the storytelling gets.
No, it's the other thing.
Similarities between the game and the real-life case of Elizabeth Fritzl, a woman who was locked for 24 years in the basement by her father. My Eyes Deceived was eventually removed from Roblox. While a lot of people thought that it was because of the content, this wasn't the case. It was originally released on itch.io by an indie developer called Nowadev. One Roblox user asked Nowadev if they could recreate My Eyes Deceive on Roblox, which is how it came to be on the platform. And it got so popular that even big YouTubers like Markiplier played it. Nowadev felt upset that his original version on itch.io got completely
that's why it was taken down?
Roblox version, so he wanted it taken down. At the end of the day, children's safety should always be top priority. But that will never stop some creators from developing absolutely horrible games like some of the violent and disgusting reenactments we've talked about.
That's crazy. That's on Roblox. That's fucking wild.
Educate them, because you never know. It may make a bigger impact on their future than you think. Visual Venture. Thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video.
Okay, thank you, War
Play
Thunder.
PC, PlayStation,
Okay, thank you, War Thunder. Thank you, War Thunder. Thank you,
returning
War
players that
Thunder.
haven't played in 6 months
Thank
get
you,
a
War
massive
Thunder.
bonus pack, including premium vehicles. And
Said the
until
thing.
the end of January, all players can get 3 exclusive
Thank you, War
Gaijin
Thunder.
snail decals.